In chapter 1.2, we'll be evaluating algebraic expressions and looking at models. Again, expressions have no equal signs, and you evaluate versus solve an expression. So letter A on page 9, example 1, negative 2 to the fourth. Now, it is not in parentheses, so this is what it means. This 2 is the only thing that is being raised to the fourth power. And as I write, I'd like you to write as well. So it's 2 being raised to the fourth power, which means you multiply 2 together 4 times. So that's 2 to the fourth power. We don't raise the negative because it's out in front. If there were parentheses, it will look differently. So this negative is actually negative 1 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Now before we solve that, let's come over and look at the difference between that and B. B is in parentheses, the negative 2. A, the negative 2 is not in parentheses. When the negative 2, or any number that's a negative, is in parentheses, it means negative 2 raised to the fourth power. You multiply negative 2 together 4 times. I'm going to solve negative 2 and negative 2. I'm going to start with my negatives. Negative and a negative is a positive. 2 times 2 is 4. Coming over here, negative and a negative is a positive. 2 times 2 is 4. So I now have positive 4 times positive 4, which equals 16. Circle your answer, please. So negative 2 in parentheses to the fourth power is positive 16. I'm going to be asking you to show work, not much, but I am going to be asking you to show work because the IB testing requires that. Now let's come over to negative 2 to the fourth. This one is not in parentheses, so it was 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. We already know that's 16. Times negative 1 equals negative 16. So although the numbers are the same, the signs are different. And it's all because this one is not in parentheses, letter A, and the second one is in parentheses. So we have negative 3 times negative 3 because it's in parentheses, and it equals 9. Okay, Venice, would you help us with the next one?
I did negative 1 times 3 times 3 times.
And this negative is that negative 1. And go ahead and tell us what you came up with. Negative 27, because 3 times 3 times 3 is 27, times negative 1 is negative 27. And if anything is incorrect, please fix it. Okay, and 4p squared minus 2p minus 9 in parentheses. When p is negative 3, we're going to substitute negative 3 in for p. So 4 times negative 3 squared, make sure you put the negative 3 in parentheses, minus 2 times negative 3 minus 9. Again, that step is to substitute. Please write that. Okay, so we're going to do the multiplication inside the parentheses first. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Minus 9, and then I'm going to close that parenthesis. If you want to have a double parenthesis over there, that's okay. So we've got negative 6 minus 9. If you don't want to put negative 6 in the parenthesis, that's fine. Bring down the 4 times the negative 3 squared and bring down your subtraction symbol. Please make sure you bring everything down at every work step. Okay, we are going to use the additive inverse. Please write this from page 5. Subtraction is defined as adding the opposite. So instead of using subtraction, we're going to use addition. We're talking about the amounts that are still in the grouping symbols, the parentheses. So it's going to be -6. If you want to put it in parentheses, you can. Subtraction will change to addition, and 9 will change to -9. So you now have -6 plus -9. Make sure you bring down the 4, the -3 squared, and the subtraction symbol. Okay, so -6 plus -9 is -15. We're bringing down the subtraction, and we're also bringing down the 4 times -3 squared. Now what you need to consider right now is that, again, we have this subtraction and a negative. Remember, subtraction is the same as adding the opposite. We're going to use the additive inverse to do that. So let's go ahead and do that again. Okay, so using the additive inverse, the subtraction becomes addition, -15 becomes +15. Bring down your 4 times -3 to the second power. Now, you are left with multiplication, powers, and addition. Decide what you're going to do next based on page 9. Okay, so -3 squared is our power. We're going to make that 9. -3 times -3. Bring down our 4 times. I'm going to use a different time sign just so you can see what to use. Bring down your +15. Your next question is, am I going to multiply or am I going to add next? Okay, 4 times 9 comes before adding 15, so 4 times 9 is 36. Bring down your +15. 36 and 15 is 51. Circle your answer, please. You're going to write the next problem from the check for understanding on page 10, which is 4 minus 3 in parentheses 7 minus 5 squared. In order of operations, grouping symbols, parentheses come first. 7 minus 5 is 2. That is taken to the second power. We bring down the 4, the subtraction, and the 3. Going on with order of operations, powers come before subtraction and multiplication. 2 to the second power is 4. Bring down the multiplied by 3, subtraction, and the 4. Subtraction, multiplication. Multiplication comes first. 3 times 4 is 12. Bring down the 4, bring down the subtraction. We have 4 minus 12. Now, at this point, many students would be able to do this without changing subtraction into addition, but I am going to use the additive inverse. So 4 stays the same, subtraction changes to addition, and 12 changes to its additive inverse of -12, which is going to give you 4 plus -12, which is -8. Please circle your answer.